How's it going, guys? I am Connor from Running Warehouse. I'm here with Danny Orr, the General Manager of Performance Running at New Balance. And Danny, today we've got an update to a shoe that maybe was a little controversial in the past. It had some pretty big updates. We've got the New Balance Fresh Foam X Tempo V2. Now, the Tempo series kind of unofficially took over for the Zante in that versatile, comfortable running shoe space. And with V1, there were some pretty big updates that changed it a little bit. I never quite found a spot in my lineup, but now with the V2, we've got some pretty drastic updates that are completely re-updating the shoe again. I think this is gonna be a fantastic new addition to the lineup. Danny, without further ado, can you give us the inspiration behind the Fresh Foam X Tempo V2?
You know, what a fun shoe. Kind of truthfully, I was the product manager, which is probably a bad thing. So if there are any issues with it, you can blame me. But you know, this has been such a fun project. You know, this exists in such a versatile spot within our range. You know, we have different shoes going after different consumers all the time. And I do think that this runs the gamut for anybody that's looking for something that's a little sleeker while still being really cushioned, flexible, and overall super comfortable. You know, you mentioned the spot that it fills, replacing the Zante with the Tempo V1. And if anything, I would say that we've gone back towards more of a Zante formula. We've gone back to the same last as what was on the Zante, similar midsole heights, a softer compound, and then that just wearable, clean, nice, comfortable upper. And as I said at the beginning, such a fun and unique and versatile shoe from New Balance.
Yeah, and I think the Zante was a shoe that a lot of people really liked, a lot of people really gravitated to, and when it switched to the Tempo V1, I think a lot of people were wondering, how can I get that Zante feel back? And sure, I think you're gonna get that here, but in a little bit of a new package. The first thing that I noted when I put this shoe on my foot was that Fresh Foam X compound, and man, Danny, this is soft. It feels cushioned, it feels very squishy almost, but you're low to the ground. It has a remarkable amount of protection for how close to the ground you are. Give us a little bit more insights on the Fresh Foam X compound and how it might be different than the last version.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. It is a totally new version, and it is the softest Fresh Foam X compound that we have. And we've specifically decided to go that way because it is going to maximize the level of cushioning in this kind of a height, as well as just maximize the flexibility as well. That hardness is just going to allow that shoe to shift and move for you. It's always a game, right? A little bit in terms of looking at how thick or how thin you can go based on your materials. But we've definitely tried to get this one, as you said, as close to the ground as we possibly can in as high a cushioned and most flexible package that we possibly could.
When you talk about flexibility, moving on down to the outsole, you can see kind of this unique geometric shape. We've seen this before in other Fresh Foam shoes. Can you talk about the outsole layout and some of the flexibility we're going to see with that?
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right. It's constructed to work in exactly that way, right? Really decoupled and really designed to morph and move with the foot. Again, we've taken data and we've overlaid it on top of this outsole pattern, try to decide where the maximum protection and durability is necessary, and then really try to deconstruct from there, again, to lower the weight of the product, to maximize the foam of the product, and just to keep the durability where it should be for this type of entry-level running product.
Perfect. Now, we got to finish this shoe off with the upper. The upper is going to be a very soft, very comfortable. I feel like with the Zante, that was the big thing with this shoe, was how comfortable it felt on foot. You could take it out for a run, but you could also just take it out walking around. And it was just a shoe that felt good no matter what you used it for. Can you tell us about the upper in the Tempo V2 and what materials we're using and what was that fit you were really aiming for?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because we hear more of that today about the 1080 than any other shoe in the range. And what we did is we just took the 1080 mesh and we brought it down into this shoe. So when you look at your 1080 V12 for the season, you're going to see exactly the same textile in the 1080 as you can see in this Tempo V2. And really the idea is about making sure that we provide the protection that is needed for an everyday training shoe, but something that's just going to disappear on the foot after miles out on the road. You're not going to worry about it. There's nothing fussy about it. It's a real nice balance between soft, supple, comfortable, while still maintaining the performance needed in a high-end training shoe.
Well, Danny, that's great to hear because I feel like the 1080 has really set itself apart from the competition and has set that standard of premium comfort, really an upper that just disappears on foot. So You get a lot of those similar benefits here, but in a $110 price tag, you can't beat it. I think the final question I have for you is, where do you feel like this shoe is gonna lie in the New Balance lineup? Where do you think people are gonna gravitate to this for their training needs?
Yeah, and I think what's really important within Fresh Foam and Fuelcell is that we have different solutions and different experiences for runners wherever they might be along their training spectrum, their weekly training or their monthly training. We definitely view this shoe as having an opportunity to fit into not just somebody's running repertoire, but also just their daily use repertoire, right? Whether they're going out and doing different classes or they're going to get a cup of coffee, whatever the case may be. This first and foremost is a performance running training shoe that we believe people can run in 5 days a week. But I also just think the versatility of this shoe is amazing, and people are going to find different uses for it in their everyday life that they wouldn't normally have imagined out of a performance running shoe.
Well, I'm extremely excited to get the Fresh Foam X Tempo V2 on my feet. It's extremely soft, it's extremely flexible. This is a shoe that's just gonna be very versatile for a wide variety of training needs. And again, I think this is gonna be a huge upgrade over the past version. So maybe if the past version didn't quite work for you, or you're just looking for a shoe similar in spirit to the Zante, but with a new gen package, the Fresh Foam Tempo V2 is gonna be the shoe for you. It's available now. You can find it here at Running Warehouse.